Good morning, all. The Jocelyn Gray Avatar is back with your Sunday morning announcements. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, please subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, drop us a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back. If you're with us in person, hello everybody here. And if this is your first visit, please sign the guest book either in the lobby or online at oakcliffuu.org/guest. A reminder, every Sunday morning at 9:30, one of our board members is available to answer your questions about the church. We hope you take advantage of this opportunity, either in person or online via Zoom. Today, on this International Transgender Day of Visibility, we welcome Leah Pittman back to the pulpit as she presents a brief exploration of the 2022 US Trans Survey. This is the largest survey devoted to the lives and experiences of transgender people across the United States. We hope you can stick around after the service today for Talkback, where we gather in a circle and discuss the service and related topics. For those online, see the Zoom chat at the end of the service for the meeting information. Coming up this week, our Widening the Circle of Concern work group continues to meet on Monday at 7 p.m. Please join us by attending the weekly meeting and or submitting your comments and suggestions via email at wcoc@oakcliffuu.org. The Social Justice Ministry Reading Group will be meeting Thursday, April 4th online at 7:30 p.m. with a new book, The Sum of Us, What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together, by Heather McGee. We have a member anniversary to celebrate today. Claudia Klipp joined UUCOC on March 28, 1993, and actually it was the UU Fellowship of Oak Cliff back then. Speaking of annual events, who remembers the years when the church had a booth at the Oak Cliff Earth Day celebration? Well, we will again. Mark your calendar for April 21st. Not only will we have a booth, but we will also be doing church in the amphitheater at Lake Cliff Park. Watch for details. As the board prepares the budget to present at the annual parish meeting on May 19th. Yep, here comes the pledge drive. Board members will be contacting folks soon. Please note that we will be having a celebration of life for Stephen Martinson here in the sanctuary on April 7th at 4 p.m. All are welcome. As we say every week, it's all in the e-blast. Not receiving the e-blast? Just sign up at oakcliffuu.org/e-news. It's that easy. Have you signed up but aren't getting the e-blast? As the AV/IT guy, Scott, my dad, says, don't forget to check your spam folder. And make sure that news@oakcliffuu.org is in your contacts. That's it for now. Take care, everyone. Hope to see you next week. Good morning. Let us light our chalice and begin our sacred work with this prayer from Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich, a minister, writer, musician, and activist dedicated to radical inclusion, deep collaboration, and courageous kindness. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths.
Wholeness by Sharon Wiley. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you. Every part of you beautiful just the way you are. Here, you do not have to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding, no exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or the person sitting next to you or to the children or to anyone. You don't have to try and be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful, every part of you beautiful just the way you are. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face, all beautiful just the way they are. You are extraordinary. each and every one of you different from each other and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together.
Please rise and bow to your spirit. We're going to do a UU favorite by Holly Near, Singing for Our Lives, but we added an additional verse because as the world is changing and we're doing better, we're learning better to add trans, cis, and non-binary folks. And so thank you so much.
We are a gentle, angry people. We are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are trans, cis, and non-binary, and we are singing for our lives. We are trans, cis, and non-binary, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people. We are singing for our lives. Last verse, gentle loving. We are a gentle, loving people. We are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people. We are singing for our lives.
In our community, we take time each week to share what is in our hearts and on our minds. If your heart is heavy today, know that you don't have to carry that heartache alone. Together, we can offer comfort. Please share your joys publicly by posting them in the Zoom chat, or send them to our Facebook Messenger, or speak them aloud.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
We also share our joys with one another, knowing that joy calls unto joy, amplified. Together, our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. Please share your joys publicly by posting them to the Zoom chat, or send them to our Facebook Messenger, or speak them aloud.
Welcome to the UU Church of Oak Cliff. Here, we seek to build a community where what you believe is less important than how your beliefs guide and inform your participation in the world. Ours is a community that strives to value the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. To our returning visitors, we are so happy you have joined us again. We know your time is precious, and we're honored to have you here today. We would also like to extend a warm welcome to any who are joining us for the first time. We recognize the bravery it takes to come into a new place, and we're glad you're here. Ours is a covenantal church. Latin for come together, covenant means a solemn agreement or promise from the heart regarding a course of action between parties. The practice of promising to walk together is the core of our faith. Simply put, it is a guide for the behavior we expect from ourselves and each other. We are bound together by the promises we make to one another, and we recite our covenant during every worship service. Please rise in body or spirit. Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together. And now in Spanish.
Porque nos amamos uno al otro, honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y aceptación, así que hacemos pacto.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leah Pittman. I think that you mostly all know me, but I want to introduce myself again anyhow. Pre-pandemic, back when we had some kids coming more regularly, I was the primary volunteer for child and youth religious exploration. I'd love to be able to do that again soon. Last year, I spoke at Easter about my own experience of coming into Unitarian Universalism from my religion of origin, which was, like a lot of people in this area, from Southern Evangelical Protestant Christianity. And can you believe it? I was actually asked to speak again. I might discuss that some more if there's time. But first, I want to talk to y'all about something else that's really, really important. Today, March 31st, not necessarily Easter every year, but March 31st is the International Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, since I'm not even gender non-conforming by today's standards, I asked for input from people in our community who are. And while I'm not trans myself, I do have friends, loved ones, and relatives who are. So why is transgender visibility so important, especially now? Anti-trans sentiment and proposed anti-trans legislation has increased at a terrifying rate in recent years. According to the Bi-Trans Alliance and Transgender Trans Legislation Tracker, let me get that right, there were 19 anti-trans bills proposed in the U.S. in 2018. By 2022, it was 155. So far, in 2024, that number is 533. These bills serve not only to attempt to make the trans community lower-class citizens, but to incite fear and misunderstanding. Our gender-expansive loved ones are in danger. I'm kind of a science geek, and I will be actually using the preliminary report of the 2022 U.S. Transgender Survey as my basic framework. Much of what I say comes directly from the report. I think that it is vitally important to present information obtained from transgender individuals about their experiences. The National Center for Transgender Equality designed the survey and wrote the Early Insights report. The citation is S.E. James, J.L. Herman, L.E. Durso, and R. Hinglettinen, 2024, Early Insights, a report of the 2022 U.S. Transgender Survey from the National Center for Transgender Equality in Washington, D.C. Anyone who would like a copy of the report, just let me know. I've got the report and actually already printed out in my car. I can quickly throw it on the printer if it doesn't cause me the same problems it did yesterday. We had fun yesterday. It was making lots of little fans. The 2022 U.S. Transgender Survey is now the largest survey ever conducted to examine the experiences of binary and non-binary transgender people in the United States, with an unprecedented 92,329 respondents. The 2022 survey was designed to offer updated and expanded perspectives on the experiences of transgender people, including in the areas of education, employment, family life, healthcare, housing, life satisfaction, and public accommodations. As a preliminary report, it presents select findings from a range of survey topics, but it does not indicate findings from every issue area covered in the survey. This project defines as transgender anyone who identifies with a different gender than they were assigned at birth. As such, the study was inclusive of those with binary and non-binary transgender identities and other identities on the transgender identity spectrum. There have been numerous social, political, and legal developments that impact the experience of transgender people of all ages in the United States, including those that have had a profound impact on transgender youth. There have also been advancements in research that have improved our understanding of the experiences of transgender youth. Therefore, it was deemed appropriate to include 16 and 17-year-olds in the U.S. Trans Survey sample, and they developed the survey instrument accordingly. The final survey questionnaire contained a total of 605 possible questions presented in 38 sections addressing topics across a range of life experiences. Skip logic was used to ensure that respondents only received questions that were appropriate based on their previous answers. The outreach team did an incredible amount of work in the year before the survey was launched. They contacted nearly 1,900 organizations and individuals to request their support by sharing information about the survey with their members and contacts. The team directly corresponded with more than 250 organizations during the outreach period and while the survey was in the field, and countless other organizations promoted the survey to their communities. The team worked to connect potential respondents through a variety of methods, including making thousands of phone calls and sending tens of thousands of text messages. Safe spaces were created where people could use provided computers to take the survey without fear of leaving any kind of computer trail or be observed in a space that was not safe for them. The communications team created promotional materials and messaging to share through email, social media, and other methods. They also developed a partner toolkit with materials for organizations to download and use, including key messaging, promotional graphics, video scripts, social media posts, event materials, and language for emails. The team provided information through many channels, resulting in the survey being promoted by influencers, organizations, and content creators through social media platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Tumblr. So what are some of the big takeaway points from the preliminary report? In the area of health and healthcare, nearly half of the respondents who had sought medical care had a negative experience because they were transgender. A quarter of respondents did not seek medical care when needed because they feared mistreatment due to being trans. A quarter of the respondents didn't seek medical care when needed due to cost. A quarter had experienced issues with their health insurance company due to being trans. And 44% of respondents had suffered severe psychological distress in the 30 days immediately prior to the survey. Now, in the area of life satisfaction, more than 95% of respondents who had lived at least part of the time as their transitioned gender were more satisfied with life. This was true for social transition, hormone therapy, and gender-affirming surgery. I noticed outside that there's a cartoon from Assigned Male, which is a great comic, y'all. And it was talking about transgender youth who transition. And it debunks the myth that there is a high rate of detransitioning. That is absolutely untrue. Studies just like this one that I'm talking about today have shown that it's really only 1 or 2% who decide to detransition later. A lot of the older supposed anti-trans rhetoric comes from flawed studies where they used methods that were basically social torture to encourage people to detransition. And a lot of those people, unfortunately, ultimately ended up in committing suicide. So, how about family support? Well, more adults than the 16 and 17-year-olds reported at least some immediate or extended family members were supportive of their transition. For adults, it was about 67%. For the 16 and 17-year-olds, it was only about 44%. Studies like that one that the comic is about are part of the reason why. In the area of income, housing, and employment, more than 1/3 of respondents were experiencing poverty. And the unemployment rate among the survey respondents was 18%. And I think the last thing that I heard on NPR was our unemployment rate is more along the lines of 4 or 5% in the population at large. More than 1 in 10 respondents who had ever held a job said that they had been fired, forced to resign, lost the job, or been laid off because of their gender identity or expression. Nearly 1/3 of the respondents had experienced homelessness at some point in their lifetime. How about the big, ugly bathroom issue that there's so many bathroom bills going around these days? Well, I actually have some less than horrible news there. 4% of the respondents to the survey were denied access to a restroom in a public place at work or at school. 6% had been verbally harassed, physically attacked, or experienced unwanted sexual contact when accessing or using a restroom. Now, those numbers are still horrible, but they're not as bad as some of these others, like 30% experiencing homelessness and things like that. General harassment and violence. Nearly 10% of respondents reported that they were denied equal treatment or service in the last 12 months because of their gender identity or expression. Nearly 1/3 reported that they were verbally harassed. More than 1/3 reported that they were harassed online. It's always easier to be hateful when you're anonymous. 3% of respondents reported that they had been physically attacked. And those are all within a year of taking the survey. Over half of the respondents said that they would not be comfortable asking law enforcement for assistance. Over half the respondents had experienced difficulty obtaining identity documents with their chosen name and gender identity. And 22% had experienced harassment and been denied services or worse when their ID, which they had trouble getting corrected, didn't match their gender expression. %80 of adult respondents and 60% of 16 and 17-year-olds had experienced harassment or worse while in grades K through 12. I think that a 20% drop is good, but it's absolutely not sufficient. It's still horrible that 60% of trans kids are having a really terrible time in school. Nearly half of the respondents of the survey had considered moving, most of them to another state, due to anti-trans sentiment where they lived. The great state of Texas was one of the top 10 states from which trans people considered leaving. So those are the big takeaways from the preliminary report. I'm sure that when the full report is released, it will have a lot more information. And I'm sorry I did not have the spoons the last few weeks to create a slideshow to keep up with all of this information. Increasing the visibility of trans people in society helps to destigmatize, improve understanding, and increase support for transgender equality. Unitarian Universalist churches are already at the forefront of providing safe and loving community for transgender individuals. We have trans ministers, lay leaders, and church members all over the country in our congregations. But it isn't enough that we keep this loving acceptance within our beloved community. We must take our place behind transgender individuals in the world and fight with them for transgender equality. We must live our values outside the safety of the UU walls. This can be done every day in little ways, like including our pronouns in our email signatures and social media profiles, wearing trans flag pins. Mine says, "Y'all means all," and calling out anti-trans speech from our family and our acquaintances. We can do it in more urgent ways. Oh, my phone just went crazy. Hang on, let me find my spot. I didn't have time to print it out because I finished the last paragraph like this morning. We can do this in more urgent ways like voting against anti-trans legislation and against political figures who support such legislation. And we can do it in big ways, such as attending rallies and marches and sit-ins at local, state, and national events. And most importantly, we support our transgender loved ones by following their lead in the fight for equality and not making it about ourselves. We must set aside our own fragile egos. We must listen to their needs, and we must be humble when we make mistakes. And we must understand that their pain and anger and frustration with society makes it difficult to assume that our intentions are good when we stumble. Now, that's a heck of a lot of information, and we're just about out of time, and I think my voice is just about gone too. But I'm going to circle back to today being Easter Sunday by saying that the Jesus that I learned about in Sunday school loved everyone, especially those who were marginalized. He was put to death for his insistence on preaching a message of love, compassion, justice, and equality. And that is a legacy worth following. Thank you.
all we kindred pilgrims of souls, though making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the ways upholding me. Hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Hi, y'all. I'm Sherry. I'm up here because in the spring of 2021, our congregation added a second covenant to our weekly worship service. This widening the circle of concern covenant takes its name from an in-depth academic study that was done at the national level by our denomination, and it was published in 2020. And we were electrified by the findings of it because it was real important stuff. And we here in this congregation started devoting some study groups in time with that report and making some changes in our congregation as a result of it. One of those changes is that we created this widening the circle of concern covenant, which is in your order of service and will appear on the screen behind me, and I invite you to join me in saying it. We, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, commit ourselves to the study and dismantling of racism and oppression within our congregation. We commit our congregation and ourselves to the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression. We commit ourselves to listening, to learning, and to action. When we fail, we commit ourselves to trying again and again. We covenant to begin this work and to continue until all of us can truly say that we are a beloved community of justice, equity, and compassion. Thank you. I would like to share with you today, as our widening moment in which we try to focus on lifting up some voices that are not otherwise well represented in our congregation. I stand in humbly as a spokesperson for people who aren't here right now, who might be with us at some point in the future of our church, but right now they aren't here to speak as much for themselves as we'd like. So in this widening moment, I have a bit of poetry that I would like to share with you. This poem comes from a zine called Trans People Exist in the Future, a zine of art and poetry celebrating trans resilience. Now, this particular poem does not have authors listed because it follows a format that is called an exquisite corpse. format. Now, an Exquisite Corpse poem is a collaborative poem in which the participants compose a single line each, and all they have to work with is the theme or title and the line that was written before theirs. And then these lines are put together. So participants composed a single line, seeing only the opening of Beyond Resilience, and responding to the last line contributed. This particular piece, the submissions closed in December of 2020, and I'm going to read you the poem. Where we're going, we can breathe, safe in public, safe at home. We can live out our dreams, not stuck on survival. Clean water flowing free. Prisons defunct, abandoned. Trans and cherished. Trans and central. Healers, artists, leaders. Forgiveness, empathy, and love. The world we have to imagine. Our genders exist before and beyond your borders, surveillance, and control. Trans and loved. Darling, do not fret. We weren't born for nothing. We were born to be creators. Trans and powerful, thriving in a community that welcomes. Trans and fighting for Jews, people of color, mad people, and Crips. A community grown with love and admiration. We exist in it like flowers, watered with anger tears, but nurtured with mutual love. Accepting perspectives, sharing privilege, embracing identity, supporting humanity. Truth is a carapace from the thorns of ignorance. We understand our strength and celebrate it. Where we're going, there are no limits. We are without fear, without chains, without doubt. We speak our feelings and care for our bodies, shea butter rubbed and filled with water. Trauma is not our name. Survived is not our identity. The future is unbound. The chains are broken. Free movement for all the Black trans disabled femmes. May you move unfettered, flying on the wind of your own deep breath. Truth is in the fire of our throats, dragon-born. We burn down cities and warm our young. We are not limited by transits and portals. We exist out of time and out of place, but perfectly whole. Wanting to be loved, held, pleasured, nurtured, adored, protected. I want these. I need these. I deserve these. Perfectly whole, with bodies which defy definition, defy standards, embrace fantasy and reality, embrace each other. Thank you. And I do want to go back and add an omission. The zine which this poem is in, and it's a downloadable zine. There's more poetry. There's more art. We'll include a link with the video. And it is primarily a creative project for trans people of color.
Time for our offering. The gifts you make to our weekly offering or through your annual pledge represent far more than lines on a spreadsheet. Your contributions are a tangible commitment to the mission and vision of this congregation. The offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. Members, if you're contributing cash towards your pledge, please use the envelope provided and write your name on it. To text your donation, dial 214-225-5996. Or for more options, see oakcliffuu.org/donate. Or, I think it was Kate who suggested we put QR codes all over the place. So if you can scan that code, it takes you right to the website. Thank you.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De Dio recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De Dio recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Blessed Are the Queer by H.P. Rivers. Blessed are the wanderers seeking affirmation. Blessed are the worshipers praying from closets, pulpits, pews, and hardship. Blessed are the lovers of leaving family and familiarity, leaving tables where love is not being served. Blessed are those who stay. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the queer, disciples of truth, living, breathing, sacred reflections of divine love. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.